What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 39 of the RUDIS Wrestling Podcast, brought to you as always by RUDIS. Matt, yesterday we hit the Big Tens pretty hard. Today we're going to hit all the other qualifiers and talk about the seeding implications. Are you ready to do that?
Let's rock and roll. Let's go.
Oh, all right into it. 125. So obviously we talked about Rivera, Lee yesterday. Talked about the rest of the Big Ten bracket. So what we have besides that really is the 25 talent's pretty spread out. So here's what you got. You got Piccinini in the Big 12. He's now 31-0. You got Bresser in the Pac-12. He's 23-1. Only lost being to Rivera in overtime. He wins the Pac-12s pretty easy. You got Jack Mueller, undefeated out of Virginia. He beat Sean Foss in the finals of the oh my God, what conference are we talking? ACC. And we got Patrick Glory takes out Vito Arujau in the IWAs. So I thought that was a lot. I thought the Glory Arujau match was fantastic. I thought it was awesome. I think that's one that could probably go either way at any point in time.
Of all the matches this weekend, this might have been one of the most entertaining. Just a high-level match, back and forth, phenomenal scrambling. And to your point, it could definitely, who knows, it could go either way every time they step on the mat.
Yeah, so I think there is definitely, not saying none of these guys could sneak in, but I think there's a drop-off after number 8. You know, a Fleetwood, a Milhoff, a Rayvon Foley, Foz, they're good, but man, that top 8, it almost separates really nicely for me. So we got, in the top 8, we got Rivera, Pitch, Bresser, Lee, Mueller, Russell, Glory, Arujau. And obviously, I don't think, if I made one of those bets where I picked the 8th at All-American, man, it's almost impossible to do those. But it feels to me as though those 8 are separated themselves from the field. You agree?
Yeah, I mean,
or am I crazy?
No, totally agree. I mean, this is a really strong 8, but after that, I mean, the rest of the weight class is filled with really quality wrestlers. I mean, you got Milhoff, who's a former All-American at Oklahoma, now at Arizona State. Like you said, Foley, Files. It just seems like there's a 1A and then, a B separation point here.
Sure.
In the bracket.
So what do you think about, I mean, we kind of discussed this bracket a little bit yesterday. So the way I read the rankings, do you like it? Do you think that's how it's going to go to seed? And we'll know on Wednesday what the brackets are. So you got Rivera, Pitch, Bresser, 1, 2, 3. Lee, number 4. Mueller, number 5. Russell, Glory, Arujau. How do you feel about those 8?
I mean, I guess there could be some argument between the 4 and 5. Mueller's
kind of irrelevant, right? Because the 4 and the 5 wrestle each other. Mueller is undefeated, yes.
I mean, that's the one argument I think Virginia would make for the number 4, but that's like splitting hairs, 4 or 5, really. I mean,
but I think Mueller's best win of the season. I think he beat Glory, and I think he beat Foz, and I think those are his best wins.
So he's similar to Rashid at 184, where he's undefeated but doesn't have a strong body of work.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and I'm honestly kind of like Ronnie Bresser. I mean, Bresser's 23-1. His only losses to number 1 Rivera in overtime, but doesn't have a huge amount of wins. Besides that, he's got number 6 Russell. And I don't know that he has anyone else in the top 10 besides Milhoff, who's obviously in the same conference as him.
Yeah, I don't believe so. So yeah, I've got no complaints there. I think this is probably 1 through 8 how it's gonna play out. I guess this year at the NCAA tournament, this will be the first year where they actually seed 1 through 33, which is interesting. I don't know if you have any thoughts.
How do you feel about that? Now, how do you feel? How do you feel about it?
I like some element of the blind draw. There's some. I think it's always fascinating, the first round, like circling, highlighting those potentially good first round matchups that if you're scripting it out more and more, I think they're still going to be there, right? Those quality matchups.
I mean, so I think what you're looking at, so I think it's kind of stupid in my opinion, just because when you're talking about the coaches panel has enough time saying who's better number 10 or 11 or number 7 or number 8. Right. And then when you get down to those 26, 27, those aren't guys that every coach has been paying attention to. They don't know their records. They don't know exactly who they've beat. So putting them in a perfect order seems kind of ridiculous to me. Like, I guarantee they're going to get it wrong.
No, and I can tell you, being on the seating committee, being on the coaches panel, that's a difficult job.
Yeah,
And
it's really.
I'm not saying
And here's the thing, man. It's not your job. That's not your
it's
job.
not our job. Yeah.
And you're thrown into that role.
And to jump in there, I mean, you do your due diligence when you're on the seating committee and on the coaches panel when you submit the weights that you're assigned for. But like you said, once you get from 20 to 33, I
That's
mean,
hard, dude. That is
you're
hard.
talking about splitting hairs, man. I mean, it's really hard to lock down. Like, I mean, because you have to go through every season record form. You don't have the time. And I think it's an unfair responsibility or ask for these coaches. They've got so many other things to worry about right now. I think we have enough quality people, informed people in our sport where you could just have a seating committee like every other championship has. I don't think any other
Yeah.
championships has coaches sitting on their seating poll because
Sure. And for what it's worth, I mean, the guys at Float, for example, this is their job. This is what they do 24/7. I mean, a few of those guys are like encyclopedias. They could tell you who every single freaking wrestler has beaten and lost to. So they're going to be much better off doing the job than a bunch of coaches who, you're speaking from your personal experience, but I can tell you, I almost can guarantee you that most of these coaches aren't paying attention to every wrestler in the top 33 and who they've wrestled all year long. They're just not doing it. It's simple.
no, and honestly, in the top 20, Ben, a lot of times what they do is they jump onto the intermat,
Sure.
they jump
Yep.
on the flow, and they say, "Oh, yeah, that top 20 looks good to me." Like, so
Or
I've got my lot.
I change it one or two, like, oh, but this guy beat this guy. That's stupid. I'm gonna change it. One or
Yeah.
two. Make sure it's not plagiarism.
Right.
Oh man. Yeah. So I think Matt. I think what, for me, it feels kind of like it doesn't matter. Almost like say you seed the 16. I kind of like seeding the 16 because those 13, and we'll talk about it 133, but those 13 through 16, there's some tough dudes in that. But when you're talking about a number 25 or 27, like, they're good, but they're just not. They're obviously proven through their body of work over the season. They're just not on the level of a number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? It's just
Sure.
factual.
Yeah.
But where it does come into play, and you look at the brackets every single year, and I do this, Matt, every single year, and I look at it and I say, because of history, I know in the first round there's going to be a handful of guys that are in the top 10 that go down. It's guaranteed, right? We can guarantee that.
Probably, and a number one. Most times there's a number one that goes down.
Not every year.
Not every year, but it's not like
say half the years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about that, what I think it comes down to is a stylistic matchup, right? It's just a bad stylistic matchup, and sometimes that's what you get. And so I think like we said, with the coach, it's going to be kind of random. You know what I'm saying? The coaches aren't going to know the difference between a 22 and a 28. They're not. They're just not.
No, I mean, and at that point, I mean, a lot of
up with who, right? I mean,
exactly.
It's slightly not random, but it is still kind of random because we know the coaches aren't going to get it right.
Right. And you know what? I mean, I think every coach would say, if you're looking for an easy draw at this tournament or the right path through the tournament, you're already probably out of the tournament to begin with. I mean, there's no easy way to get through this tournament, so you just got to wrap your mind around it. And it's hard to be cliche, but it's really like, hey, a series of one match tournaments is the way I approach.
Well, and really the seeding 17 to 33 really only affects the first round.
Yeah,
because 1 versus 16 is still going to be second round, or 2 versus 15 or whatever. That's still going to be second round. So it really only affects round 1. Everything else is still the exact same.
So yeah, I mean, overall, seeding 1 through 33, I don't have a big problem with it.
I think I'm going to go with exercise and futility.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'll go with that. That sounds a lot better than my take.
Yeah, there we go. 133, and this is where, dang, I said that I didn't think that 125 was that deep past 8. This one, man, you go deep on this weight class. So I'll just read the way we're on Intermat and Flo. We're not on you because you play advertisements on your rankings, and we don't want them on playing during our podcast. Sorry, get rid of the advertisements. We'll be back. This punishes Stevan Micic for not wrestling in the finals of the Big Tens. Well, not wrestling in the finals or Conti semis or fifth place match. So he actually didn't wrestle 3 matches there, Matt, not just one. So this one goes Fix, Suriano, Philippi, Lizak, DeSanto, Pletcher, Tariq Wilson. This is going to go so deep. John Ernesti, Chaz Tucker, Montori Bridges, Austin Gomez, Roman Bravo Young, Ben Thornton. That is all the way down to number 14 for you. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
deep. You could almost go 1 through 20 and say, this is absolutely ridiculous.
Gary Wayne Harding, Corbin Myers, Josh Terrell. Man, there's some tough dudes in there. There's some really good guys. Hey, the one thing that the coach at my academy, John Messerink, he pointed out to me yesterday about DeSanto. DeSanto, between the Oklahoma State match and the Big Tens, he's now been ridden out for an extended period of time to the end of the period, 4 matches. We said he got better on bottom, but did we get fooled? Did he not get better on bottom?
Well, I think there's a difference between getting better and putting effort at this point, right? It's seemingly with the stat that John just gave you, he's putting a lot of effort on bottom, but it doesn't seem like the improvement's quite there yet. And I know we mentioned this on the previous podcast, but at what point with all the work that you put in throughout the year to shore up some of your weaknesses, do you say, okay, let's push it on to next year?
Well, wait. Okay, that's going a little too. Answer the question, Matt. You're getting off the question. Okay, we there was this narrative this year. I don't think we pushed this, but I will say other people pushed it. That DeSanto's gotten a lot better on bottom at Iowa, and that was one of his issues, and he's fixed one of his issues. And I could kind of agree with that. Now he's got ridden out 4 matches in the last 2 weeks. Is that narrative false? Is that just not true? True or false?
Well, maybe the narrative is the quality of competition he's been facing in the past month, as opposed to the previous 3 months. Right?
Gun to your head. True or false?
False. He's still got work. To do.
Oh man. So he better just hope he doesn't. Because we got some tough riders in this bracket. Philippi is a freaking latch on. Lizak is a beast on top. Ernesti's a beast on top. I mean, we got a lot of really, really good riders. Obviously,
Wilson is tough. Fix is tough. Suriano is tough. They're all tough in different ways. That's the cool thing about it, is they all bring something different, a little bit different flavor to top.
Okay, so does Stevan Micic, how much do you punish him for not wrestling his final 3 matches at the Big Tens?
My take is, how much do you affect the body of work? He's still undefeated, right? Technically, if you medically forfeit, that's not a loss. So he's technically undefeated.
He is undefeated,
still.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of great wins too. And so I guess if I'm Michigan's coaches, I'm not going to get out there and say, oh, he blew out his ACL, right? I mean, if you bring that information to the table, you almost have to slide him down.
So let's just, we don't know the injury. So me and you shouldn't try to negotiate seed based on injury. So I have a really hard time wanting to put him below Nick Suriano, because Suriano's got 3 losses. He lost to DeSanto, he lost to Fix, and he lost to Stevan Micic. He's got 3 losses. I also have a hard time putting him below Mickey Philippi, and I'm definitely not putting him below Ethan Lizak, who has 5 losses. So your options are really 1 through 4 is what I would say. Is that
I would.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Disagree?
I agree. I would keep him in the 2 to 3. I mean, personally, I would keep him at 2. I think I could make an argument for 1, being that
I think you can make an argument for 1.
I think you can make it for 1, because the bottom line, no matter what people say about him defaulting, like, the only thing that matters is next weekend, right?
Correct.
Winning a national title is obviously Micic's only goal. Like, if it was to win a Big Ten title, we might have seen him.
Dang.
But
I didn't realize this. I'm sorry. I got ADD. I apologize, Matt. Mickey Philippi, he only has 2 losses, and he beat both Dayton Fix and Ethan Lezak. So you realize one of his losses was to Corbin Myers, who is all the way down there at number 17. He almost lost to him again. I missed it. And he went 2-1 tiebreaker in the semis of the ACCs.
ACCs.
Holy crap! What if he would have lost to Corbin Myers again?
And well, then you're probably looking at that Philippi down at 8, right?
Yeah.
Instead of Wilson.
Yeah, he doesn't want to draw Corbin Myers. I'll tell you that much.
So how would that actually play out? I'm looking what the
if he's at 2 and Myers
would be 17.
Well, 2 and 15 they could wrestle.
Yep, 2 and 15.
Well,
I'm just trying to play out
17 would wrestle. Let's see, 16 would wrestle 17, so they would wrestle number 1. But so if he was like 15, 14, or 13, or 18, 19, or 20, there's a decent chance they would wrestle.
Wow.
Jeez. Disaster.
So I guess they should. Yeah. So an endorsement for seeding to 33.
That's funny.
But
then our Philippi's coach is going to be trying to push Corbin Myers out of the way just because they see that number matches up. And then is that fair? Is that the right thing to do? Oh man,
so many things come into play this time of year.
We're getting into the weeds now.
But I guess, hey, I did want to talk about it seems to be, as if we're talking about the team race, Okie State has definitely benefited from how the conference tournament played out at 125 and 133.
And huge. We thought that was going to be. We thought that was a possibility for sure. I mean, and Fix still's got a tough road to hoe because if you look at, say, if he does get the number 1, which I think is a good possibility, that 8-9, the Tariq Wilson, John Ernesti, that's a tough match. And then, you go after that, you got Lezak and Philippi. He lost to Philippi. So, both those matches are going to be tough matches for Dayton Fix to win. Kind of that 33 bracket is so tough no matter where you end up at 1, 2, 3. You're going to have really, really challenging matches.
Yeah, I think you have to. I mean, this is not the exception to anybody in the tournament, but especially so at 133, like you have got to be ready to go that first round.
Absolutely.
Every match here, like you can't, like I'm sure these 33 pounders are going to get so sick of their coaches because coaches tend to get anal at the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
Like, are you ready? Hey, you can't overlook this guy. Don't overlook that guy. Everybody's tough. And then,
I hate it when the coaches do that. Hate it. Oh,
but yeah, I'm sure that's on full display right now, even before the tournament started.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That drives me crazy when coaches do that. So let's go with 141. I don't think we have nearly as many problems here. There's gonna be a lot of arguments in the seating. Oh, hey, before we get into seating, did you see Dom Demas versus Cade Brock?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It was less than a minute, but it was fire. I mean, he like inside trip / headlocks him twice within a minute. Twice.
What I mean, just for sure. I mean, we've talked about what McKee and oh shoot, why am I blanking here?
Who? McKee and Cade Brock.
McKee and Brock.
Yeah.
We might have found another person with Dom Demas that when you're talking about fireworks with Cade Brock, this is the guy, like guaranteed something big is going to happen whenever these two guys face each other.
Yes. Oh my God. If you guys have not seen that, go. It was on Twitter. I mean, it was short enough to make a Twitter video, which means it wasn't very long at all.
Just pure explosion everywhere.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, okay, where are we going here? We're going Yanni 1, McKenna 2, Lee 3, Ironman 4, McKee 5, Storr 6, Albert 7, Moran 8, Carr 9. I see that. It's the one guy who could get bumped up, who has had a season but had a great Big Ten, Chad Redd. If he ends up a little bit higher, I'm not really surprised because obviously he outplaced number 3 Nick Lee, number 5 Mitch McKee, number 6 Candace Storr, number 8 Tristan Moran, number 9 Mike Carr. If they bump him up based on his Big 12 results, I'm not really that surprised.
and this is where a little bit of the subjectivity in the seeding process comes into play, like with things like injuries and conference placements. Like how there is some margin of error for some discretion, in the seeding to place more emphasis in different areas. Like obviously with the rankings right now, with Intermat went with the body of work on Chad Red as opposed
Yeah.
to
Well,
making it to the Big
yeah.
Ten final,
I
right?
mean, to be fair, they moved him from number 20 to number 12, which in most weeks would be a gigantic jump.
That would be huge. Yeah,
Huge. Yeah,
and to throw Chad Red into the top 10 at this point, like I think that's fair.
yeah.
But and I and I think it's based upon Mike Carr's season and being the number 1 seed. Obviously, Intermat didn't take away his body of work.
Yeah.
They included his body of work and didn't say, well, he had a really bad Big Ten tournament, and so we're just gonna
Well, they
throw
didn't.
him
I
out.
mean, they moved him from
But they moved him down. I think
number 4 to number 9 or so. Mike Carr had 2 medical forfeits to Elber and Dom Demas. He lost to Jaden Ironman, and besides that, I don't believe he lost until the Big 12s. Or, I'm sorry, Big 10. He didn't.
Big Ten.
So
No.
those are his only losses of the year. So he had a really good season. He won all of his Big Ten matches besides Jaden Ironman, which Ironman's very good, obviously. So I feel like with Carr, there's got to be something wrong with him, right? The person we saw at Big Tens wasn't the person we've seen all season. He's probably got an injury or something. They're just trying to battle through, and we're just not hearing about it. So I think 1 through 4 are kind of obvious here. I think, in my opinion, those 4 are kind of ahead of the field right now. But with some of these guys in here, you're not shocked if a Tristan Moran or Cade Brock or Chad Red gets an upset. You're not really that shocked.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of interesting round of 16 matchups here
Absolutely.
at the tournament.
Yep. Okay, 49. Let's see. And this is the one where we talked about. So Intermat goes with Kolodzik at number 4. That was what we were talking about. This is Ashnault Jordan clear 1 and 2. They bumped Fine Silver up. They got O'Connor at Kolodzik at 4, O'Connor at 5, Muller at 6, G Feller at 7, Oliver at 8. Man, the ACC was tough, huh? Because they had Fine Silver, O'Connor, and Oliver all in the top 8.
Yeah, really strong. Really strong here.
So I'm looking at this is bizarre. Oh, what the hell on God's green earth? Okay, I'm looking at Berge versus. I guess they're not factoring in Berge's injury default, but Berge was number 13 to start out with. They bumped him all the way up to number 9, despite the fact that he took 6th in the Big Tens, and Lugo took 3rd, and they bumped Berge ahead of Lugo, even though Lugo started ahead. And so that to me shows, and this is where Flo picks on the internet, but that's a lack of continuity because they punished Stevan Micic for not wrestling his final matches, but they're not punishing Brady Berge for doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem with even the rankings, right? That there's a little bit of subjectivity and there's misapplied criteria. There's not consistent criteria applied throughout the 10 weights. Like if you're going to do it the same way at 41, carry the same criteria or thought process to 49 and apply it to all of your rankings.
Yes, if you're going to say we're punishing you for not wrestling, you have to punish everybody for not wrestling. You can't just punish some people for not wrestling. That's it.
And I really applaud these ranking guys for doing what they do because it's a tireless, thankless job.
Yes, it's hard.
That just gets picked apart, right? It's like look at you and I. We're picking apart, but it would be nice if they actually submitted their criteria when they submitted the rankings, right? Like this is how we will be determining rankings for the entire year.
Yep.
And when we get in the postseason, this is how we're going to apply injuries. This is how we're going to apply injury defaults. This is how we're going to apply.
Wouldn't that be nice? That would be nice.
It would be. Yeah.
It'd be so nice. Hey, so one thing we talked about the numbers earlier. Number 6, Brock Muller. Number 12, Jarrett Deegan. Brock Muller is 29-2. Both losses being to Jarrett Deegan. So I think Missouri's going to hope that Deegan doesn't end up at an 11 or a 5-12 or a 7-10 or something to that effect. That would be nice to get them separated. The only other really shocking conference result that I saw was Max Thompson, returning All-American, finishes 7th at the Big 12s. And he kind of got smacked on the backside by Davion Jeffries. So, I thought that was kind of shocking to me. A guy who's, he always had really tough matches with Levon Mays out of Missouri. So I kind of followed Max Thompson. So I don't know what's up with him, but, a really subpar performance on his part.
And based upon, I'm not sure how many the Big 12 qualifies at one.
They were a lot. I think it was 7. Yeah, I was actually shocked. Okay. Matt, there was a few weights where the Big 12 qualified more than the Big 10. I think maybe 165 or something, or maybe it was 174, somewhere in there. Yeah, they had a whole bunch of qualifiers. Hey, the other thing, so the Big 12 is kind of a super conference now, right? They have how many? 14 teams? Is that what it is?
14. I mean, that's where everybody's going at this point.
Well, did you see what happened last weekend?
Yeah, the EIW or the EWL and the MAC.
Yeah. So I mean, we're going way down in conferences because the EIWA is essentially a huge super conference, right? They have around 15, I believe. The Big 10 has 14 now. You got the Big 12.
EIWA is at 16.
Oh, so okay, 16. So I'm wrong there. And now the MAC will be at, I think it's 15 schools. So really the only ones not in that will be the ACC and the SoCon. Let's just combine those while we're at it. Those kind of are close enough, right?
Yeah, you might as well. And then you kind of go. I mean, a couple of
ones out of the Pac-12. Where would throw the Pac-12 at? The Big 12?
Well, you would almost have to throw the Big Pac-12 into the Big 12 and then pull some of the affiliate members out of the Big 12 and probably put them into the MAC. With Missouri. I mean, that could create a little bit, because the MAC's a little unbalanced right now.
Yeah, Missouri's way out
really
in front.
Good. I mean, way out in front. And but I think this is the way these, I guess for a lack of a better term, you could essentially call all the wrestling conferences now super conferences. They're not true conferences. They're all made.
Well, the SoCon, the ACC, and SoCon, they both only have 5 schools or 6 schools.
Yeah, and those are the only 2 conferences left that are true, just true conference members. Yes. Everybody else is made up from a hodgepodge of different conferences. But this goes back to what the NCAA proposed a couple years ago, doing a true regional format.
I don't mind that at all. I really don't.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. But the way that these conferences are shaping up, in essence, they're becoming regional tournaments. They're more than just a conference tournament at this point.
Yeah. I don't mind the regional at all. Especially to separate some of the best teams. That would be cool, I think. Okay, let's go to 57. This one doesn't go very deep. Nolf, next topic. I think he's the only guy that can win this weight class, even maybe if he gets injured.
Really what it's playing out, I mean, when you're looking at the seedings, this is like who's on the opposite side. And that's
exactly what we're talking about. So right now it's Berger, Hidlay, Pantaleo. I think this is clean though, Matt. I think it's number 1 is Nolf. I think number 2, 3 is Berger, Hidlay, no argument. I think number 4, 5 is Pantaleo, Deacon, no argument. I think number 6 and 7 are Steve Blyes, no argument. And number 8 and 9 are Romani and Hayes. I don't see how you move that one around too much at all.
No, I mean, it's pretty locked in.
Wow.
I mean, that's as locked in as any weight class we've discussed.
Yeah.
This is where, Deacon and Nolf, Deacon, Pantaleo, all on the same side.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, that's you gotta wrestle, right?
Yeah. Okay. Next weight class. I think this one goes a little deeper. 165. And wow. So Evan Wick has been bumped down quite a bit by Intermat.
Give me your thoughts on that.
When I look at it on paper, it doesn't seem right, because he essentially has 4 losses here, 3 of which are to the number 1 guy, Marinelli, all of which have been very, 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 very competitive. And I would argue if Marinelli got properly called for stalling, could have went the other way. And then one,
and I argued if Wick could actually take him down.
Well, that also. You're also.
But I don't get your take where you're, that's not your style. Why are you begging the refs to
listen.
just hit a call?
I am a spectator. I could be in a lot of different avenues right now. Right now, I'm a spectator and a pundit, and I want stalling to be called properly. So when I see it,
I want to see takedowns. I want to see takedowns. I don't want to see a ref determine the match.
When one guy's stalling so hard, it's really challenging for the other guy to make something happen. Okay, so Marinelli Joseph 1-2. That's obvious. So then you go Shields, Marsteller 3-4, Massa 5, Wick 6. And it's like Wick has so much of a better season than Massa. Massa had losses to Demetrius Romero. Let me see who else Massa lost to real quick. I know he had more losses than that.
Wick doesn't have any head scratchers. Outside of Marinelli,
None.
Who's his other loss?
Massa in overtime.
Massa, no, that's right.
Massa,
he has no bad losses.
So he lost to Isaiah White. He lost to Demetrius Rivero. He lost to Josh Shields. He lost to Vincenzo Joseph. And Vincenzo Joseph again. So, I don't see why. I mean, when you consider all those losses versus Marinelli and Massa, I don't see how Wick could get all the way bumped down to 6. I think you could probably, I think you argue that one for sure. Shields.
I think what they argue, go ahead about Shields.
Well, let me see who Shields lost to. I know Shields obviously lost to Logan Massa. He also lost, so he lost to Evan Wick. So Wick has that win over Josh Shields. And he lost to Vincenzo Joseph, and he lost to Marinelli. So, those are Shields' 3 losses right there. Marinelli, Wick, and Marsteller. So Marsteller lost to Shields and who else? So you got a mix up here. A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's this one should actually be interesting how seeding plays out, because this will be a dogfight. This will be a dogfight in the seeding, because
I don't know I guess I don't. But it's so.
I guess it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter too much because styles, because everyone's kind of okay with wrestling everyone. I mean, Wick has beaten Shields, so if he's the 6, the opposite of 3, he's probably not that upset about it. That's a match he's already won this year. He's never wrestled Joseph, so that's hard to say. He's obviously struggled. Although it's been really close, he's struggled and lost 3 matches to Alex Marinelli, so he's probably, not loving that matchup too much. But he did kill Marsteller and Sayes last year, so maybe he's saying, well, I want that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so this one is kind of all about matchups.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see how that plays
out.
And
I think if you're the athlete, you're just like, hey,
take yourself out of it.
Yeah. Just
definitely.
Tell me who I got, because these guys are so familiar with each other at this point. Just tell them, like, oh, you got Joseph, you got Marsteller, you got Wick. Okay. Yep. I know what to be prepared for because I've seen it before. All these guys are battle tested. They know what it's about. And yeah, I don't think any of these guys are probably too concerned about their seed.
No, I don't think so. So let's go with this. The other guy we've talked about this weight class is Joe Smith. Intermat threw him in here at number 13, which I don't like at all. He's 3-2 at this weight class. He has no significant wins at this weight class. And he was killing Demetrius Romero the first 2 periods and just fell apart. I mean, honestly, he gives up that first takedown with 1:45 in the 3rd period. And you could just tell, Matt, he's got nothing left. Nothing left whatsoever.
It kind of reminded me of his freshman year at 157, first round at the NCAA tournament against our own Jake Ryan.
Jake Ryan, yep.
Jake had him dead to rights. Similar situation. I mean, he had him on the ropes. It looked like Smith just came unglued, was done. And the same thing appeared to happen at the Big 12 against Romero.
Yes. I mean, Matt, how hard did he fall off? He was just done.
Oh, bad. Done.
Yeah, that was wow. Yeah. So how do you put him 13, Matt?
Well, do you want me to be honest?
You're gonna say you don't, I hope.
I wouldn't if you're truly subjective, but why they're doing it, let's be totally candid and honest.
Because he had an All-American before?
There's 3 reasons why he's seated. He's from Okie State. His last name is Smith, and he's a former All-American, right? I mean, let's be honest. I mean, for people to say that doesn't happen, name recognition determines rankings. Like, like,
okay, but are the college coaches going to give him the same leniency?
A little bit,
You think
right?
so? I think they're putting him way down there.
I think they
I
still
think
have him
they're
in the top
burying
20. They
him.
definitely have him in the top 20, but should he be in the
Oh,
top
really?
15?
Man, he's
I would
3-2 at the weight class.
probably put him down at 17 or 18.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna have to look. So this list only goes to 20. I'd have to look at who 21 to 33 are. But I mean, he's only 3-2. He's 3-2. He's got no big wins in the weight class. Yeah,
And
I think Chandler Rogers wins the conference. I thought this was a terrible move to start out with. I still think it's a terrible move. I really, genuinely don't know what they were doing here.
and to boot, Ben, in addition to all these things with Joe Smith, he didn't qualify the weight for the Big 12. He didn't have enough matches. So he didn't even they qualified the weight. Okie State qualified the weight.
But he took
No,
it
they
away.
didn't because he took it away. He took a qualifying spot away and essentially stole it. So, and again, this happens every year. I don't want to, yeah.
Okay, so hey, here's an interesting one. We're going to 74. Hall's number 1. I think they're going Lewis number 2, Valencia 3, Amin 4. I don't think there's any way to argue Amin over Valencia. I think that's pretty easy. Cutler 5. So Jacoby Smith, they have it at number 6. And I read this, and I'm going to check up right now. But apparently, all 3 of Jacoby's losses are at 184. So he lost to Hunter Bowen, he lost to Lou DePerez, and he lost to Ryan Price. So Jacoby Smith is undefeated at 174. How many matches does he have? Was it? He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He only has 12 matches, but he is, in fact, 12-0. How high could you seed him?
I mean, I could see him in top 5. Could
you bump him over? What'd you say, Matt?
No, I was going to say did Smith and Cutler wrestle in the duel, but Smith was up at 84 during that duel.
Smith lost to Ryan Price. Yep.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see how they seed that. We got McFadden at 8. We have Lujan. McFadden at 7. Lujan at 8. Skatska, Labriol, Lighty. This weight for me, not I could see Jacoby Smith and Cutler probably sneaking in there and doing some damage, but the top 4, they're really, really good, and they're kind of, I don't want to say above everyone else, but I have a hard time seeing anyone below them beating them. If that's fair.
No, I agree. I think Cutler has that potential. If there's one of those guys in there, well, no, I think Smith has the potential. I think McFadden does.
I'm not so high on McFadden. I don't know. He hasn't continued to improve the way I think a lot of people thought he was going to.
I mean, he's 18-2. It's not like he's had a bad year.
Do you remember how bad he got smashed by Joe Smith?
Yeah, he did.
Joe Smith couldn't beat anybody.
Yeah.
So when I look through his record, Matt, his most significant win would be Brandon Womack. So he did one Trent Hidlay, who's in red shirt, but he had a ride out over Trent Hidlay at the Scuffle.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I have a hard time seeing him going too high. Again, else, who are you taking in this weight class? Gun to your head. We haven't done this yet. Gun to your head. Who are you taking to win the weight class?
I'm taking Hall again. Yeah, I think Valencia.
He's taking a step back this season. What's he doing?
Yeah, it just seems, I don't know what's going on. I mean, we've talked about the sophomore thing a little bit.
Yeah, he's taking some bumps.
The national championship thing. Like, he's a junior now, right? So, I mean, this could be, who knows? I don't know. I mean, maybe he hasn't looked the same this entire year. I mean, there's been points throughout the season where he's looked vulnerable. Not only vulnerable, he's lost a couple times. So
yeah. Jeez, let's go Zahid. All right.
Zahid. You're not getting any. You give any chance to your boy Lewis.
I think Lewis could make the finals. You know what? I'll be totally honest with you. I think Lewis could definitely make the finals. Last year, I went ahead on my podcast. You can go watch it. I said I thought Daniel Lewis had a really good stylistic matchup for Mark Hall for a handful of reasons, which I listed, and then Mark Hall went and smashed him. So I would love to make that prediction, but if I do something again and it looks stupid, then I'm looking stupid twice in a row. So I'm gonna wait on that prediction.
Okay.
Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We got Martin won. Miles Martin's going to win this weight class. I think he's just so much better than everyone else. Shakur 2, Zavatsky 3, Dean 4, Price 5, Parker 6, Ben 7, Bonacorsi 8. Man, this one feels like Miles' next topic to me.
Yeah, I think it's similar to 57. You take 2 through 12, 2 through 15, and say, I could see any number of these guys from 2 to 15 placing anywhere from 2 to 8 in the bracket. But yeah,
Yes.
up to this point, there's
I agree with that for sure.
There hasn't even been a hint that there's going to be anybody to compete against Miles Martin this year.
Not a hint. All right, Miles, next topic. 197. Bo, next topic. Hey, Brucky looked good against Ben Honus. I watched that match. Brucky looked really good. Honestly, if you told me Brucky okay, obviously given the fact that he would get seeded 2, 3, 6, or 7, so he wasn't on Nickel's side, if you told me he made the finals, I wouldn't be too shocked. I really wouldn't.
No, I think all these guys are. I think these guys from 2 down to 8 are very similar.
Who's Brucky's only lost to? He's 29-1. I got to look it up. Do you know offhand?
Brucky, didn't he lose to Hannes earlier in the year?
Oh, you're right. Good call. Damn, he'd be undefeated. He lost 7-6. Otherwise, he would be undefeated.
And that's my dark horse. That was my dark horse, if you remember. From what I call Hannes in December.
Yeah, you called him early. Wow.
But Brucky got the payback. It'll be interesting if these guys see each other in for round 3 in 2 weeks. But
what if they're like a 3-6 or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I could see. Couldn't you see a number of these guys depending on the seeds play out? Any one of these guys.
Honestly, below 4. You know, I love Willie Miklas, but he kind of got smashed by Preston Weigel in the Big 12 finals. And so once you go past 4, I mean, Warner got smashed by Tanner Sloan, who's not even a starter this year. He lost to Rocco Kaywood. I can't see Warner beating anyone in the top 4. I can't really see Miklas doing the same thing as much as I would like to say I could. So really, for me, that top 4, it's really number 1, Nickel,
and I'm not gonna
2 through 4, and then everybody else.
And I say the upset potential here is, and I'm not just saying this to pat myself on the back. I think Hannes has a style to upset one of these top guys.
You're not saying Nickel, are you? You're not saying talking crazy.
No, not Nickel. Okay. Anybody but number 1. I think he's got the potential. At least it's a conversation for him to upset one of these guys. He's super, super long, Ben. He's dangerous. He's super long. He's just a difficult, he's not like Darmstadt. He's not Darmstadt dangerous, but he's got a really long, difficult frame to compete against.
Absolutely. Okay, so we go to heavyweight, and we discussed this last year. There's going to be a triangle up top: Cassar, Stevenson, White. They've all beat each other. I think you're going to go Cassar due to recency, but I can't say that without a full assuredness. I think you could also see Derek White being up there. Amar Desi is all the way back up to number 4. He only has 1 loss, which was that first match of the season when he lost to Mason Paris. And this one's crazy because you got Mason Paris all the way down there at number 11. Since he had a terrible Big Tens. They got Sam Stoll still at number 8 when he DNP'd at the Big Tens, and his record is 9-5. I just don't see how he's that high.
They have him at 14, right?
Yeah, he didn't place. He didn't win a match. He lost to the Purdue kid in the wrestlebacks.
Again, this is
I don't get
where
it.
Sometimes he hasn't had any results. 0. His record is 9-5. Outside of him,
does he have any good wins at all?
I don't think so.
Let me look. I'm gonna look it up. Okay, Midlands, no.
I think he beat one of the mid-range guys. What did he meet? Like a Northwestern or something like that?
You know who he beat? He did not beat the one. He beat Yusuf Hamida 1-0.
Okay.
But Hamida was losing to everyone before Big Tens.
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
This is another case where you've got a multiple-time All-American who was preseason number 1, and his body of work doesn't suggest he should even be in the top 20.
Definitely not.
But I mean, with his, his name, his school, his conference. They keep him hanging around, and I'm sure people will argue like, hey, your body of work should be included for something, right? If the time you get to be a senior, you should say, hey, it's not like I'm just had a bad season or something. I've done things for the past.
Bull crap.
Yeah.
Your seeding is based on this season.
Okay.
Is that what you're saying too? Are we in agreement there or no?
No, I agree, but I don't. I think it's impossible to disregard your previous 3 years.
Really?
As much as
even if you suck?
Come on, in the back of your mind, Ben. In the back of your mind, you can't just completely eradicate 3 years.
I gotta take it out. Yeah, if you're a different guy, I have to take that out.
It doesn't play anywhere in your head. This guy's a number one.
Well,
was number one 2-time All-American. That doesn't.
I think
anyway.
I think during the season, I was thinking like, okay, so at some point he'll get better. At some point he'll get better. At some point he'll get better. Oh damn, we're past Big Tens. He hasn't got better. No, he's not the same guy. He's just not. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, wow, that was, you know what, Matt? We are at time. I didn't think we were going to have that much fun with this show. I thought yesterday was going to be more fun. I think I had more fun today. That was a lot of fun. So, I'm headed to London. We're going to come back. You and I are going to study the brackets before our next show. We're going to break that down. That's going to be our last show before NCAAs. And then we're going to be live in Pittsburgh. So, I'm excited. I'm pumped.
I'm going to fill people in real quick about what we're doing. Hopefully, we should be posting.
We don't even know yet, Matt. We don't even know.
Yeah.
You and I are going to talk about it.
Most likely, like,
we're going to do a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff for sure. After every session, we're going to be going live.
Yes,
right.
That's for sure. Probably except for the last session.
Yeah, for certainty after every session, if people are looking to see a live update.
And RUDIS will have a store in Pittsburgh also. P.S.
RUDIS will have a store. We'll be at the Fan Fest at the NCAA tournament. We'll be having all of our RUDIS sponsored athletes there. They'll be doing a signing at the NCAA Fan Fest. We'll also be having special guests on the podcast. We're lining those up now. So, yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
Awesome. All right, Matt, I will talk to you after we study these brackets.
Awesome.
Peace.
See you.